So I'm just dropping in and seeing who shows up, what questions we got. I got backup topics. How was your trip?
It was wonderful. It was
Yeah,
great. Can't wait.
good.
Yes, yes. It was warm, but it was
I bet.
good.
Yeah, Georgia in the summertime. That's hot.
Yes. We did a lot of things though. Went to Florida, went to South Carolina, got on the river boat cruise, and yeah,
Good.
it was good.
Awesome. Good to hear that. Hey, Peter. Thanks for joining.
Hey, Ethan, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem at all. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Now, you had questions on plan confidence, right? That's what Tom was saying.
Yeah, so, Tom he's a senior of mine, right? So he's all set up.
Yeah.
And I had some conversations with him about kind of what he was doing. And so, I had some questions about the 403Bs and the deferred compensation plans and stuff like that. He's giving me some advice, but at the same time, I wanted to get some more information,
Do you have a 403B established yet?
No, I do not. And, I've looked at the list of investment providers and, that's quite a big list. I can point out the two major ones I know of, like, hey, Vanguard and Fidelity. But honestly, I don't know because there's so many different kinds, which ones to go with, I guess that's a newbie question.
Yeah. What school district are you in?
Federal Way.
In Federal Way? Yeah, they have a big list.
Yeah, their list is quite large.
Let's see if I can pull them up here.
So yeah, my hope is just to figure out like a skeleton, because I'm so early in my investment career. And on a side note, this is going to be a funny story. I'm just going to add this in there real quick. I actually started watching you when you started your YouTube channel, and I actually reached out, and then I had this like online slideshow I went through that you put together. It was a great slideshow. Yeah, and then what happened was that I ended up purchasing a home during COVID. You know how COVID time was very.
Oh yeah.
And I remember I was like, you know what, Ethan, when I get this home thing under control, I'm going to reach out. And then when Tom was talking about you, because I started picking Tom's brain, that's when I was like, wow, no way. So here I am.
Awesome. Well, glad you came back. Thanks for watching. Let's see if I can pull up that list here. Some school districts have on their website, but usually every school district will have, they call it a TPA, a third-party administrator. They're the ones that like control who the providers are allowed in that district. Omni and TSA, they used to be separate. They just merged. So I'm hoping you're in here. This is like the ultimate list where if it's not on here, then it ain't a thing. It's not popping up on here. Let's go to TSA individually here. Federal Way. Here you go. Yeah, so you're with TSA.
Right.
That's the person that runs Federal Way. So this is the master list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the list.
Yeah. Can you see the screen okay? I can zoom in more. Yeah, so you can get a contract with any one of these guys here, but you follow your gut. I think you're right. Pretty much anything that has insurance in the name, they're all going to be annuity-based products. So you're like your money's like locked up for a certain period of time. Shortest one I've seen is like 6 years. Washington State caps them at 10 years. Other states will go to like 12 years. I'm not a big fan of them. There's no really reason to lock up the money. There's no benefit to it. So I never recommend doing those type of ones. So on this list, Aspire is one of my favorites on here. Aspire is independent. They don't have any advisors. They have like 10,000 investment options. So you can buy Vanguard funds with them, Fidelity funds with them. The only thing with them is they charge like a 0.14 admin fee, and that just goes to them to manage the stuff. So their admin fee is a little bit higher than if you went directly to Fidelity or Vanguard, but they have more investment options. You can actually get more Vanguard funds from Aspire than you can get from Vanguard, surprisingly. Because with Vanguard, they have like a list of stuff, but certain ones have like limits. Like you need so much invested to get into them. So Aspire usually is a little more friendly for that. I like them a lot. And if you ever wanted to have an advisor come on, like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, any independent advisor like myself they could sign on and be like the administrator. They don't have to like work or do anything special for Aspire. So that's always nice. You can always bring on an advisor or kick them off anytime you want. They're the only company I know that does that.
Okay.
And then other than this, yeah, AIG, this is all annuity. Equitable, that's my old employer. That's all annuities. Fidelity would be the other good one. That's not annuity based at all. Invesco Oppenheimer is not annuity based, but you only get Invesco and Oppenheimer funds. There's no Vanguard Fidelity funds, and sometimes their expense ratios can be a bit higher. Lincoln's going to be more annuity based. That's annuities. That's going to be annuity. Security Benefit will have both, but even if you get their non-annuity version, they're still more expensive. And then Vanguard. Yeah, so you stick with the top three: Vanguard, Fidelity, or Aspire. You can't go wrong with any one of those three.
Would that be your ranking? Vanguard, Fidelity, and then third place would be Aspire? Or how would you rank those?
Personally, for me, I mean, I don't have a direct experience like working with Fidelity or in the Vanguard models per se. I know Aspire the best at all these three. So I would personally go there just because I know that platform better. And I like that they have a larger investment list that if I wanted to hold both Fidelity and Vanguard funds, or I want to hold another random fund, I know I can get in Aspire.
Okay.
That's why I like them. And if I want to bring on an advisor, I can. If you go to Fidelity or Vanguard, you get their funds, their investment lineup. And if you want to bring an advisor on, unless your account's like large enough, like, 100,000, 200,000, they're not giving you one of their advisors. And if you do get one, they'll know the investment sleeve. They won't know nothing about your school district, your benefits, or anything like that. So they're totally like, they pay them salary. They show up, they work, they talk, they go home. They don't do like this kind of stuff where you build the communities, and they don't have like individual clients. They work the call center. That's why I like Aspire. But the nice thing is, whenever if you choose one, you're not locked in. So if you said, hey, I'm going to start with Fidelity because I like them, you go with them. And if you're like a few months down the road or like a year later, like, I'm not really digging it, I want to see if Vanguard's better, you can go to Vanguard. You can you can open a new account with Vanguard. You can have both going if you wanted to. So you want to do like $100 a month into the Vanguard one and $100 a month to Fidelity, you can still do that. Or if you want to ever transfer the money, you can transfer it too. So that's the beauty of it, is even if you feel like you messed up, you picked the wrong one, as long as it's one of those three, they're really easy to go in and out of. There's no fees to swap between them. It's pretty quick. They're all very tech friendly. So their online portals are pretty good. So those ones are good. If you pick one of these other guys, they're sticky. These like they'll have penalties and fees and all this kind of stuff to get out of them. If you stick with any of those three, there's no wrong with it.
Okay. Sorry, a quick question about the rules of this Q&A. Do we just kind of raise our hand like this and ask the question? I think it's just me and Juanita. But how do we...
That was the idea, is just come off, ask questions, just kind of go around the room, and then kind of speak back. Juanita, did you have any other questions?
I do not, because I'm still really trying to understand the whole thing. I mean, he had good questions. You had good answers. Now I need to put that together.
Sure. Hey, Steve. You got any questions for us? Maybe not. We can keep going then. So, Peter, do you currently have a deferred comp plan?
No, Ethan. I am pretty novice, where what I only have is my plan 2 and my Social Security, and at this point, my COVID house.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was another question about that also, which was, they gave me, I went to my HR and got a pamphlet from them for the deferred compensation plan. And I was looking through it, and it was almost like, hey, you can go into this Roth deferred compensation plan, which doesn't seem to have a cap, or you can go to the pre-tax route. But then I was also reading, it's like, hey, the target date funds are what 71% of the folks are doing, and then got me questioning, well, is that better then to start a DCP and then, try to do the date and then the whole Roth thing if there's no cap on that? But I'm paying out of my salary, I mean, my after take-home pay. I was just trying to figure all that out, whether it's better to start with the DCP or a 403B.
Yeah, I'm becoming more of a fan of the deferred comp now. I was real 403B heavy, but since they launched the Roth 403B option, I like that one a little bit more. Doing it through, Vanguard Aspire, that's good too. The deferred comp is just a little bit nicer because it's the same login. You go through Voya, the login's a little bit easier to manage from that point. I mean, you can have both, but deferred comp, I feel like it's a little bit easier for you to manage. And when it comes time to moving money out, you don't have to go through as many hoops as you do with the 403B. So to transfer money to 403B, you have to request the paperwork. You have to sign it. Your employer signs it. And when I say employer, it's going to be these guys, Omni or TSA. They sign off on it. Then it goes to whatever company you're transferring money from. Say it's Aspire. Aspire has to sign it. And then it goes to the new provider. Say it's Fidelity. Right. So there's a lot of people that have to sign. So you see that process can take quite a while. Fastest I've ever seen it done is like 2.5, 3 weeks. But I've seen them drag out for months. If people are like, oh, I didn't get the paperwork, can you fax it back over? Oh, you forgot to sign it. So it can drag on. Deferred comp for moving stuff, because it's just one person, it's just the state. It's a little easier from a paperwork standpoint to manage it.
So in the deferred comp, is it just following what plan 3 would be following? Is that what happens, like the investment choices, or are you making any choices at all, or are they handling it for you?
Perfect. Okay, yeah. So this is inside of plan confidence. So when you get an account, this is what it looks like. On the right hand side here, you can pick what plan you're on. So I'm currently in the 457 plan, or the deferred comp. 457 is just the tax code, but DCP. So this is what this is. So if we go to funds, this shows you all the funds available within it. So here's your target date funds. You have the small cap. Oh, this is a thrift plan. Sorry. Let me go into 4. They're the same investment options as plan 3. So let me go back in here. That was a government 457. This is the state one here. So small fund, S&P. So it is the same investment options, but you can kind of pick and choose which ones you want on there. You got your target date funds here, and then the individual choices. As far as plan confidence is concerned, we never use target date funds because they're not specific enough. We only use these individual funds up here, and we make portfolios out of those. Yeah. So if you're younger and just getting started, I probably wouldn't go into target date fund myself. itself,
Mhm.
just because they typically, I mean, they perform okay, but they have bonds in them, you know,
Mhm.
just even some bonds, and bonds have been negative the past few years. So it
Mhm.
might drag you down. That's where just going maybe all in on the S&P, you might get a better return in the long run. You know, the market crashes tomorrow, you're still working. Yeah, it sucks. Your money is temporarily, you know, down, but it's not going to affect your lifestyle.
Mhm. Can you always, like this DCP, are you able to change the allocation and percentage with the different asset categories at any time? Like a little bit of S&P 500 and a little bit of small fund, or all the different options that are there?
Yeah, so you can
Yeah.
change it anytime. They have a 30-day rule though. So once you make a change, you gotta wait 30 days before you make another change to it. They want to make sure you don't day trade it.
Yeah.
But you can. So like in here, well, you know, this insider plan confidence, this is what it looks like. So we just updated September 2nd for future contributions, which is the current paycheck going in. Not very many people use this, but we give it to them. So if you wanted to go in there and say, hey, for this next paycheck, I want it to go in these 3 assets, you can. Most people just use this one. So this one updates at the beginning of every, so strategic is going to go every quarter basically. It updates. So October 1st, this will change. And this is what it's currently saying. So it's saying S&P or the large, you know, 55. This is 5. This is 2. This is 38%. This is for someone that's more moderate. So it's about 10 different models in here, like to start off with, and then we can custom down after that. But essentially, every quarter this goes out. You get an email. You can even get this on your phone. They have apps for it, and all it does is tell you what to change. And then you would log in, you know, to your DRS here account once you get in there, and then you would place the trades.
How do I become a part of that program?
Yeah, I can send you the link.
Okay, thank you. That's awesome. Link.
Yeah.
Another question. I know you're now a fan of the DCP. My other question is, you've seen a lot of the folks go from both, but like, are the returns very similar? Like the gains that you make between the 403Bs and the DCPs, or are you noticing that, you know, the DCP is actually doing much better? Or, I mean, does that matter, the performance?
Yeah, I mean, performance matters. Is there a big difference? Not really. It all depends on how they invest it. If you buy the S&P in the Plan 3 or deferred comp, or you buy it in the 403B, they're going to perform the same. The only thing dragging against it's going to be the fee structure. As long as you're with Fidelity, Vanguard, Aspire, the fees are low enough that you won't see the drag as much. But if you bought it in like one of those annuity ones, you would see it for sure. A lot of them start with a 1.3% baseline, and then they charge like 0.6 for the S&P. So a lot of those ones, it's like 1.5 to 2%. You'll see that drag, but inside like the Aspire 403B, you won't see it as much. So you still have the admin cost up front, and then you pay the individual fund fee. The individual fund fee inside those 403 shells are cheaper than deferred comp by a bit, but it's not enough to notice it. You're talking like paying 1.14 versus 0.08. Like it's so small that it's not worth the headache or even worrying about it.
Got it. Okay, my other question is, you know, the limits that you're able to contribute, the 23,500, right, for individual. I'm not at 50 yet, so I don't have the additional, unfortunately for me. But the question is, if that's the max, how's that break up? Like if I put it in multiple things, they all add that up, and you can't pass the 23,500, or like if I had like a Roth and a 403B, and then I was, you know, contributing to something else, like are they looking at the whole thing and saying, hey Peter, you can't put more than 23.5? Is that how that works?
Yes, every account has its own tax code that it follows. So the limit only applies to the actual tax code. So when it comes to 403, tax code 403B, that's 23.5 just for 403Bs by themselves, right? If I have Roth IRA, they have their own limit, 7,000 right now. It's totally separate. So between the two, I could do 30,000 here.
Oh, got it.
These are separate limits. And then deferred comp is under tax code 457. It's also a separate limit of 23.5. So you can actually do all 3 of these. They all have their separate limits if you wanted to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So there's no shortage of savings as a state employee. You got 53,000 right here, place to put money, and you're not even 50 yet.
Yeah,
So there's no shortage on it. The Roth has an income limit, but it's, you know, it's pretty high. You don't start touching to you're making north of 6 figures. Whereas 403B and 47, there is never an income limit. So it doesn't matter how much you make, you can always use them.
Ethan, what's the cap, income cap on the Roth? And then is there an income cap for the Roth DCP too then? Like what's...
No, yeah. So only Roth because it's an IRA. Anything with an IRA is going to have an income cap on it. 403B doesn't matter if it's pre-tax or Roth. There is no cap. Same with 457, no cap. on 457, whether it's pre-tax or Roth. And then the individual cap is in 2025. If you're file single, it's 150,000 is when it starts phasing off. So we knew 7,000 up until I make 150, and once you start making over 165, you can't do the Roth anymore. The 7,000.
Is there a if you file jointly, does that cap go up to like 300? Then you just double it.
Yeah. So joint, it's going to be 236,000 is when it starts phasing off, and anything over 246, then both you can't do it anymore. And that just means you can't do it the traditional way. You still have backdoor Roth. It's just once you go over that threshold, we do it a different way. So it's not you can't do it. It's just you got to do it. You got to change your strategy of how to get the money in there.
Got it. And then for example, if it's 150 is your income limit, for example, and then say you put 20,000 into a DCP or whatnot, pre-tax, then your income goes down and then you can then participate in the Roth?
Yeah. As long as your income is under the threshold, you're good to go. So that is a strategy you can use. You can use pre-tax savings to artificially, reduce your income to meet the limits.
Okay.
And when it comes to like these limits, the 23.5 is for all accounts. It doesn't matter if it's pre-tax or Roth or what provider it is. So if you had a DCP account, for example, or let's use 403b, it's a little bit easier. So you had a 403b and you had a 403b Roth. The total is still 23.5 for both of them. So it doesn't matter which one holds it all, or you could have 10,000 in one. That means I'm going to put 13,000 in the other one. So the total of all accounts can't be over 23.5.
Got it.
So you can do both, but that one has to stay under the 23.5 limit. 23.5 is the total 403 limit. Doesn't matter if it's pre-tax Roth or what company. So if you went out there and you said, I'm going to do all three of these 403Bs, I want one every year and test them. You could do 7,000 each one, but you could not do 10,000 each one because that would push you over the 23,000 limit.
Okay. My last question is there a good online tool calculator where I can start punching in some numbers to really figure out, what my take home would look like so that I know how much I can contribute and then not be surprised by how much I'm getting in the end of each month?
So you're looking for a paycheck calculator?
Yeah. So like, for example, I'm like, okay, if I signed up and I'm doing an investment or how much I'm going to pull out, I might just write like, hey, I want like $1,000 taken. And I'm like, pre-tax, I'm excited. Yeah. And then I get my paycheck. I'm like, oh man, that $1,000, dude, I'm not going to make my bills. Dude, Tacoma Power is really hurting me. And then, so I'm trying to make sure that I put away the right amount without, I'm almost like guessing, throwing money at it and hoping that I'm going to get the right amount. I don't want to do that. If there's a calculator I can use.
Yeah, I don't know of any calculators off the top of my head. There probably is one. I don't know of one per se that does that. I'd have to look it up and get back to you to see what I can figure out on that.
Okay.
Yeah. The nice thing is with these is you can change them anytime. So even if you do guess and you're like, oh no, that wasn't good, the next month you can go back and change it.
Yeah.
Right. So at least these things aren't like locked in for life. The rule of thumb is as long as you can tell payroll by the 10th of each month.
Yeah.
You want to make a change, they'll get it done in time. So that's the nice thing.
I'm sure like now that I'm here and I'm starting this journey that I would probably be around for a while, but just to build my skeleton, my takeaway today, and tell me if this is wrong, but my takeaway today is it might be a good way to start the DCP for now instead of the 403B with the different options. Like maybe the DCP is the first thing I should start. Would you say that's a good one or no?
Yep, that's a smart move. Start with deferred comp. You can do Roth DCP there. You just get the 7 different investment options. The fees are low. It's all built in with DRS. If you ever wanted to change it, same thing. You could go in there and you let them know, I want to change my paycheck to do $200 a month or $300, whatever it is. You can let them know. They react a little bit slower than the 403Bs are to changes. It might take an extra few days for them to make the change. That's the only complaint I've had with them is they don't change as quick. So if you're like in an emergency situation where like payroll, we can go on the 10th and change it, and the 403B we know can stop. This is the state. They might not do it in time.
All right.
That's the only thing I have with them still is they're a little bit slow. Not always. It's just occasionally that they can be a tad slow.
Ethan, thank you so much for your time. Gosh, this was so awesome. This worked out perfect for me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem at all, Peter. Thanks for showing up.
Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
You too. Take care.